At 68, Charles sat quietly beside his wife, holding her hand but feeling distant, not emotionally, but physically. The warmth, energy, and closeness they once shared had faded gradually over the years. His heart still longed for her, yet his body no longer responded as it once did. Doctors offered prescriptions and sympathy, but what he truly needed was hope. That hope didn't come in a bottle. It came from something far older than modern medicine: herbs. I'm Dr. James, a men's health and natural aging specialist. For over 30 years, I've helped men and women in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who were told their best years were behind them and believed intimacy was a thing of the past. What I've learned is this: aging doesn't end connection. Poor circulation does, and nature holds the key to fixing it. Most people don't realize blood flow isn't just about the heart. It's about the brain, energy, touch, and feeling alive and desired. When circulation slows, everything dims. But what if I told you 7 simple herbs, many found right in your kitchen, can restore the flow that fuels passion and vitality? Today, I'll explain how these herbs work, why they've been trusted for centuries by wiser cultures, and reveal one often overlooked spice that could be your secret to intimacy after 60. You don't need more pills. You need better circulation, and nature has already provided the answer. Before we begin, if you want to stay vibrant, connected, and healthy after 60, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss natural health tips made for you. If this resonates, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me create better content for your journey. Now let's dive into the first herb that's been a game changer for thousands of my patients. It's one of the oldest medicinal plants known to man, and it works by opening up your blood vessels and waking up your brain. I'm talking about Ginkgo Biloba. One Ginkgo Biloba, the memory and circulation booster. I still remember the day Margaret walked into my office. She was 71, sharp-witted, but frustrated. "It's like my brain has a fog over it," she said, "and everything feels slower. My thoughts, my energy, even my connection with my husband." She wasn't just talking about memory. She was describing something deeper, a kind of dullness that had crept into her life, both mentally and physically. That's when I introduced her to something ancient, gentle, and powerful: Ginkgo Biloba. Ginkgo has been used in Eastern medicine for thousands of years. In fact, it's one of the oldest living tree species on Earth. But what's more impressive is what it does inside the human body, especially as we age. This herb works by expanding the blood vessels, especially in the brain and extremities. For someone over 60, where blood flow naturally slows, that means more oxygen, more nutrients, and more life moving through the body again. Margaret started with a small daily dose, just 1 capsule in the morning. Within weeks, she said she felt like someone had turned the lights back on. Her thinking became clearer, her moods more stable, and she felt more present with her partner. But what surprised her most was how it changed their physical closeness. "I wasn't expecting that," she told me with a smile, "but I feel more responsive, more awake." That's the hidden power of GKO. While most people associate it with brain health, it quietly works to restore the entire vascular system. When blood flows freely, everything else begins to respond. Your memory, your energy, even your desire for touch and closeness. It's subtle but steady, like watering a withered plant and watching it come back to life little by little. Over the years, I've recommended GKO to hundreds of my patients, both men and women. Not because it's trendy, but because it consistently delivers. It's not a quick fix, and it's not meant to replace medical treatments when needed. But for many people in their 60s and beyond, it's a foundational step toward feeling human again, toward remembering who they are and reconnecting with those they love. The real beauty of herbs like GKO is how they support the body's natural processes without overwhelming it. There's no jolt, no artificial high, just gradual, genuine improvement. And when you feel mentally sharp and physically energized, It opens the door to all the other aspects of intimacy, trust, playfulness, attention, and presence. Those things don't disappear with age. Sometimes they just need a little help finding their way back. Now, while GKO is remarkable on its own, there's another herb I want to introduce you to. One you've probably used 100 times without realizing its potential. It doesn't just warm the body, it warms the heart, the hands, and yes, even your connection in the bedroom. And chances are, it's already sitting in your kitchen cabinet. Ready to find out what it is? Let's keep going. If you're still here and these insights are resonating with you, go ahead and comment the number 1 below. I'd love to know you're still with me on this journey. Now, let's keep going and take a closer look at the second herb. 2. Cinnamon, the heartwarming spice. There's something comforting about the scent of cinnamon. It reminds people of warmth, home, and memories long tucked away. Fresh baked pies, holiday mornings, and quiet cups of tea. But cinnamon isn't just a nostalgic kitchen spice. It's a quiet healer, especially for those of us in our 60s and beyond who are beginning to feel the effects of time on our hearts, our energy, and yes, our intimacy. I first started recommending cinnamon as a circulatory aid after one of my longtime patients, Harold, came to me with persistent cold hands and feet. He brushed it off at first, saying it was just part of getting older. But as we spoke more, I could sense there was something else beneath the surface. He felt a growing distance physically and emotionally from his wife. He didn't feel warmth, not just in his limbs, but in his connection. And that's something I hear more often than most people realize. Cinnamon works in a remarkable way. It helps dilate the blood vessels, allowing blood to move more freely through the body. It's also one of nature's most powerful natural blood sugar regulators, which is crucial because unstable blood sugar can wreak havoc on energy levels, mood, and even sexual desire. What I love most about cinnamon is how it supports the heart in every sense of the word. Physically, emotionally, even romantically. I encouraged Harold to begin adding just half a teaspoon of true Ceylon cinnamon to his morning oatmeal. It was a simple act, but a meaningful one. Within a few weeks, he came back with a new light in his eyes. I feel warmer, he told me. Not just my hands, me. I don't know how else to explain it. That's exactly what this spice does. It gently brings the body back into flow. Warm limbs lead to better movement. Stable blood sugar leads to steadier energy. And improved circulation often sparks a quiet return of physical intimacy. The kind many couples don't even realize they've missed until it comes back. Cinnamon doesn't shout. It doesn't act fast. But day by day, it reminds the body how to feel again. I've used cinnamon myself, not just for my heart health, but for the sense of ritual it offers. Making tea with a cinnamon stick in the evening has become something I look forward to, especially when shared with my wife. There's something beautiful about taking time to nourish your body, your relationship, and your spirit all at once. Many people underestimate the power of small changes. They want dramatic results overnight. But in my decades of experience, it's the small, consistent choices that lead to lasting transformation. And cinnamon, humble as it may seem, is one of those choices that brings the body gently back into rhythm. But while cinnamon warms from the inside out, the next herb we'll talk about does something even more direct. It's been used for centuries to awaken desire, restore physical response, and boost confidence in ways that modern medicine often overlooks. Its name might raise an eyebrow, but its effects are real and for some life-changing. Ready to hear what it is? Let's keep going. 3. Horny Goat Weed, the intimacy herb. I'll never forget the moment Richard leaned in across my desk, his voice low, almost embarrassed. "Doc," he said, "I love my wife. Always have. But something's sound off. I want to be close to her. I just can't seem to respond the way I used to." He wasn't asking for a magic pill. He was looking for a way to feel like himself again, to feel like a man again. And for that, I turned to an herb with a name that often makes people chuckle. Horny Goat. Funny name, serious results. Known formerly as epimedium. This herb has a long history in traditional Chinese medicine for enhancing libido and restoring sexual function. The legend goes that a shepherd noticed his goats becoming unusually frisky after grazing on a particular wild plant. That plant became known as Horny Goat Weed, and over time, its effects have been studied and supported more than many people realize. For men, it works by boosting nitric oxide levels and supporting healthy testosterone. Two key factors in achieving and maintaining a physical response. But what I find just as powerful is how it impacts confidence. When blood flow improves and response returns, so does the quiet assurance that you can still connect deeply physically with the person you love. That shift alone can reignite emotional closeness. But here's the part that often gets overlooked. This herb isn't just for men. Women too have reported improved desire, sensitivity, and even comfort during intimacy when using horny goat weed regularly. It works with the body's natural systems, gently reminding it how to respond, how to feel, and how to reconnect with those deep sensations that can fade over time. Richard began a simple daily routine, a modest dose of horny goat weed paired with evening walks and better hydration. Within a month, he told me something that stayed with me. "It's not just about sex," he said. "It's about being close to her again, holding her, and knowing that I'm still here, still whole." That's the power of herbs like this. They're not about performance. They're about presence, about coming back into your body, waking it up, and allowing connection to flow freely again. As a doctor, I can't count how many couples have walked into my office feeling defeated and walked out with hope. Hope that intimacy isn't lost, just waiting to be rekindled. Now, horny goat weed isn't a cure-all. Like anything natural, it works best when it's part of a greater effort. Better nutrition, more movement, open communication. But it can be a spark, and sometimes that spark is all it takes to light a fire that's been quietly waiting to burn again. And if you're wondering whether these herbs only work one way, think again. Because the next one, unlike the others, doesn't just support circulation. It actually helps clean out the very arteries that carry your lifeblood. It's a household staple. It's powerful. And yes, it might surprise you. Let's take a closer look. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, drop a number 1 in the comments so I know you're here and engaged. Let's keep moving forward now with point number 4. 4. Garlic, the artery cleanser. Years ago, I treated a man named Walter, 76, retired, quiet, proud. He came in for chest tightness. But what concerned him even more was how distant he felt from his wife of 50 years. "It's like I'm fading," he told me, eyes steady but tired. "I can't keep up physically, emotionally. I'm still here, but something's missing." His blood pressure was creeping up, his energy was low, and his circulation was poor. He was starting to believe that this was just the way aging worked. That's when we started talking about garlic, not as a flavor, but as a medicine. Garlic has long been one of nature's most powerful cardiovascular allies. Its strength lies in its ability to support the health of your arteries, the highways of your body's entire circulatory system. As we age, these highways narrow, stiffen, and clog. Blood doesn't flow as freely. Oxygen doesn't reach the heart, the brain, or the intimate areas the way it once did. And with that, energy, memory, and connection begin to fade. But garlic helps reverse that process. What I've seen in my practice, and what research continues to confirm, is that garlic can gently lower blood pressure, reduce plaque buildup, and thin the blood just enough to allow smoother, freer circulation. Think of it as a natural cleanser for your arteries. Over time, garlic helps reopen the pathways that bring life to your body. Walter was skeptical at first. He'd never taken a supplement in his life, but he agreed to try aged garlic extract, just a simple capsule once a day, and added 1 raw clove to his meals a few times a week. It wasn't long before he came back with a new lightness in his step. "I can breathe easier," he said, "and I don't get winded walking up the stairs. But more than that, I feel present again, even with my wife." That moment stayed with me because what he was really saying was this: when your heart works better, your whole life opens back up. You feel more connected. You feel more engaged. You feel more like yourself. Garlic isn't glamorous. It doesn't come with fancy branding or promises of overnight miracles, but what it offers is real, consistent, dependable support for the very systems that keep us alive and keep us loving. And in a world filled with quick fixes and short-term solutions, sometimes the quietest remedies are the most powerful. One of the things I love most about garlic is how easily it fits into everyday life. You don't need a complex regimen. You just need to make a habit of it. Whether it's roasted with dinner, blended into soup, or taken as a simple capsule, it works from the inside out day by day. And while garlic helps cleanse and protect the blood vessels, the next herb we'll talk about brings something else entirely. A surge of natural energy and vitality without caffeine or stimulants. It's grown high in the Andes and has been treasured for centuries by people who live longer, move better, and love deeper. And the best part, it doesn't just restore your body, it restores your spirit. Let's keep going. 5. Maca Root, the energy restorer. Some people talk about getting older like it's a slow, quiet dimming, but I've always believed aging is more like a conversation between you and your body. And for many people, that conversation starts to feel one-sided. I saw this clearly with Helen, a vibrant 67-year-old woman who came to me not because she was ill, but because she felt like something inside her had gone flat. She had no energy. Her desire for connection had dulled. She loved her husband deeply, but she no longer felt present in her body or in her relationship. She told me, "I don't feel broken. I just feel invisible." That's when I introduced her to Maca Root. Grown high in the Peruvian Andes, MKA has been used for centuries by native communities to support stamina, endurance, and fertility. But what makes it truly special is its gentle way of working with your body. It doesn't force a response. It doesn't flood you with hormones. Instead, it nourishes your endocrine system, the network of glands that helps regulate energy, mood, and yes, intimacy. What I've seen over and over again is how MKA helps people reconnect with their inner spark. For Helen, it started with a little more energy in the mornings. Then came clearer thinking, a steadier mood, and about 3 weeks in, she told me something I hear more often than you'd think. "I feel like me again, not 25, just me. Awake here." That's the quiet magic of MKA. It doesn't make you feel younger. It helps you feel more you. It supports hormonal balance in both men and women, helping the body restore its natural rhythms. And when you're in rhythm, everything else starts to come back online. Curiosity, laughter, affection, desire. I've taken macaca myself for years, not because I was burned out, but because it helps me show up fully for my patients, my wife, my family. It gives you a kind of rooted energy, the kind that carries you through the day without jitters, without crashes, just clarity, steadiness, and strength. For couples, I found MKA to be especially powerful when both partners take it together. There's something beautiful about healing in tandem, about making the choice day by day to reconnect not just with each other, but with yourselves. And the best part, macaca is easy to add to your life. It comes in powder or capsules, and it blends beautifully into a morning smoothie or warm drink. It's a small step that carries a deep impact, and not just physically, but emotionally, too. So far, we've explored herbs that boost circulation, cleanse your arteries, and restore energy. But the body isn't just about flow or fuel, it's also about inflammation. Silent creeping inflammation is one of the most common reasons people over 60 feel stiff, foggy, or disconnected. And the next herb, it's one of nature's most powerful anti-inflammatories, hiding in plain sight. Let's explore what this golden root can do for your body and your connection. 6. Turmeric curcumin, the inflammation fighter. There's a kind of pain that doesn't shout. It whispers. It shows up in the morning when you reach for your slippers. It slows your walk, tightens your back, stiffens your hands when you're trying to hold your partner. Over time, it builds quietly, stealing your comfort, your movement, and eventually your willingness to be touched. That kind of pain is inflammation. And for people in their 60s and beyond, it's one of the most common reasons intimacy fades. Not because of a lack of love, but because the body simply doesn't feel good. I remember talking with Susan and Charles, a couple in their early 70s, who had been inseparable for over 5 decades. They came to me not because their connection was gone, but because it had become harder to reach. Susan had arthritis that made every motion painful. Charles had swelling in his joints and persistent muscle soreness. "We still hold each other," Susan said, "but I brace myself for the ache that follows." That kind of hesitation creates distance, not emotional, physical. And that's where turmeric comes in. Turmeric, or more specifically, its active compound curcumin, is one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatories we have. It's been used for centuries in traditional medicine, but only recently as science caught up to what many cultures have known all along. It helps reduce swelling, improve circulation, and bring the body back into balance. For older adults, this means less joint pain, greater mobility, and a renewed sense of comfort in their own skin. What makes turmeric so unique is how it supports the entire system. It calms inflammation in the blood vessels, helping improve blood flow. It soothes muscles and joints, allowing the body to move freely. And perhaps most surprisingly, it lifts the mood. Inflammation isn't just physical. It weighs down the spirit, dulls the brain, and clouds emotional connection. When you start addressing that inflammation, you don't just feel better, you feel again. I recommended a daily curcumin supplement to Susan and Charles, paired with simple stretching and turmeric tea in the evenings. Within 6 weeks, their bodies began to move differently, but the real shift was in their energy. "It's like we're not flinching anymore," Charles told me. "We reach for each other without hesitation." That to me is the heart of intimacy after 60. It's not about grand gestures or proving anything. It's about comfort, ease, the ability to touch and be touched without pain or tension. Turmeric doesn't transform you overnight, but it clears the way for connection to return physically and emotionally. It allows warmth where there was tightness and softness where there was strain. I've used turmeric in my own routine for years, not just to keep inflammation at bay, but because of how much better I feel when I do. My joints move more freely, my thoughts feel clearer, and I feel more grounded in my body. It's a daily reminder that healing doesn't always come from something loud or aggressive. Sometimes it's something golden, quiet, and deeply rooted. And while turmeric helps soothe the inner fire of inflammation, the final herb I'll share with you today is quite the opposite. It brings heat, literal heat. It wakes up the body's natural vitality with a gentle but undeniable spark. If you've ever wanted to feel more alive from the inside out, this last herb might just surprise you. Let's take a look. 7. Cayenne pepper, the metabolism stimulator. Sometimes all it takes is a little heat to remind the body it's still alive. Not the kind of heat that scorches, but the kind that stirs, the kind that moves blood, awakens nerves, and makes you feel present in your skin again. That's exactly what cayenne pepper does. It's not fancy, it's not exotic, but it's powerful. And for people over 60 who feel like their fire has gone out, cayenne may be exactly what they need to bring it back. I met Roger and Diane during one of my wellness retreats. They'd been married nearly 40 years and described their relationship as comfortable. But when I asked about energy, excitement, and intimacy, Roger chuckled and said, We're not dead, but we're definitely cooling off. I appreciated his honesty, and it reminded me how many couples come to accept that physical connection just fades with time. But the truth is, the body often just needs stimulation. Real natural stimulation, and cayenne offers exactly that. Cayenne pepper contains a compound called capsaicin, which stimulates blood flow, boosts metabolism, and gently raises body temperature. It gets your heart pumping just a bit faster, encourages oxygen to circulate more freely, and brings a warm, tingling sensation back to areas of the body that may have started feeling dull. That's not just good for your heart or your digestion, it's good for intimacy. What I've seen time and again is that cayenne helps wake up more than the body. It wakes up interest, energy, and even a playful sense of curiosity. Diane began adding a pinch of cayenne to their meals just a few nights a week. Nothing dramatic. A little in soup, a dash in roasted vegetables. Within a couple of weeks, Roger joked that he felt 10 years younger and 5 degrees warmer. But beneath the humor was something real. They were reconnecting not just with each other, but with themselves. Their bodies felt more responsive. Their moods were lighter. There was laughter again. And laughter often leads to so much more. The beautiful thing about cayenne is that it's so easy to integrate. You don't need pills or powders, though they exist. You simply need to be willing to add a little spark to your routine. Start small. A pinch here, a sprinkle there. For those who don't enjoy spicy food, supplements are an option too. But for many, the ritual of adding heat to a meal becomes symbolic of trying again, of feeling again, of bringing life back to the surface. I've used cayenne myself on days when energy feels low or circulation feels sluggish. A warm cup of lemon water with a touch of cayenne in the morning does more than wake me up. It centers me. It reminds me that even as the years pass, I still have the power to care for my body, to fuel it, and to feel fully alive in it. Roger and Diane would later tell me that cayenne didn't just spice up their meals. It added spark to their evenings too. And that to me is the heart of all of this. Small changes, when made with intention, can lead to beautiful transformations. Now that we've explored these 7 remarkable herbs from ancient roots to fiery peppers, you might be wondering how to put it all together, which ones to start with, how to blend them into your daily life, and most importantly, how to make these shifts stick so they actually lead to lasting change. In the next few moments, I'll guide you through exactly that. How to bring these natural tools into your routine with confidence and care, and how to start feeling more connected, more vibrant, and more you than you have in years. Let's wrap this up with something practical, powerful, and deeply personal. Conclusion: Life after 60. Rediscovering connection through nature. When I think back on the many faces I've seen across my desk, husbands, wives, partners who have grown older together, what strikes me most isn't the challenges they face. It's their courage. The courage to say, I still want to feel alive. I still want to be close. I still want more. That quiet bravery is where real healing begins. And if you know someone, a friend, a partner, a loved one who could benefit from this, please share it with them. Sometimes a small act like that can lead to real change in someone's life. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these herbs are you most excited to try? Have you used any of them before? Your story might inspire someone else watching right now to take their first step toward feeling better. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell, because I've got more insights, practical tools, and natural health tips coming your way. Especially for those of us who know that age doesn't mean giving up on vitality, connection, or joy. So go ahead, like, comment, and share. Your engagement helps grow this community of strong, wise, and thriving individuals. Let's keep learning and growing together.